Traditional animation is done by drawing one frame of animation at a time, and then playing them back in rapid succession. While Flash Professional features a number of different mechanisms to simplify this process, it is entirely possible to perform frame-by-frame animation using this application. This lesson will demonstrate frame-by-frame animation in Flash Professional. So here I have a basic document open up. Nothing is actually on the stage yet. And what we're going to do is animate an object from the left to the right of the screen using frame-by-frame animation. And what we'll do is use the oval tool to create a little ball here. So I'll reposition this along the bottom of the stage and choose the gradient transform tool in order to adjust my gradient slightly here. Okay, so that looks good. And again, this is a basic shape that we're dealing with here, so nothing special about it. I'll rename my layer to ball. So from here, to perform any sort of frame-by-frame animation, what I'm going to want to do is insert keyframes and adjust them little by little. So really the best way to do this is to use keyboard shortcuts. So you can go in and just insert frame or insert keyframe each time to create new frames. You can also go up to insert, timeline, frame, keyframe, or blank keyframe to create new frames. The easiest way to do this is with keyboard shortcuts. So I happen to know that the keyboard shortcut for inserting a new keyframe in Flash Professional is F6. So if I hit F6, you can see a new keyframe appears right after my initial one. And from here, I can modify any of the properties of this particular object. So I'm going to select it and hit Shift Arrow Right. Shift is a modifier key for the arrows that allows you to shift something by 10 pixels instead of 1 pixel. So I'm going to move this ball 10 pixels at a time across the timeline. So I'll hit F6 again, and you'll notice that when I hit F6 to insert a new keyframe, it inserts the keyframe, replicating that object and all of the properties of that object from the previous keyframe. So it makes it very simple to do frame-by-frame animation. So Shift right key again, F6, Shift right key, F6, Shift right key. So I'm only going to do it that far, and perhaps to make this actually stop, I'm going to use the free transform tool and begin to nudge as I do this. And you can see I'm skewing and transforming this a little bit each time I do this. So then what I want to do once I have this in place is to just add some buffering keyframes, so some basic keyframes at the end. For that, I can just simply insert new frames, or I can hit F5. F5 will extend and insert basic frames for me. And I'll go out to 70 here. All right. So now that we have this, we can preview it by scrubbing. So we can see that frame by frame animation. He's going, and then he sort of wobbles to a stop here. We can also use these inline controls to view it. Or we can go to Control, Test Movie, Test. And we can see how fast that actually was. So he moves, and then he kind of wobbles to a stop there. So this has been an example of how to achieve frame-by-frame animation within Flash Professional CS6.